The beat of the drum is a shout of freedom. And the spirit of the drum remain always in the African descendant, African children them. We here in San Andrés, we have a lot of African descendants. When the drum sound, when the sound of the drum hit, it busts through spiritual, physical, and mental, and wipe away all negative conception, expression, and imagination. Because the beat of the drum represents such a spiritual and physical movement in African people that it become a language.
The drum was not included in the religious services initially in the islands because what we received was a Eurocentric form of Christianity. The first leaders that moved and began to share Christianity with the people, farmer slaves, they were descendants of the same European, and they traveled to the United States and other part and brought a Eurocentric type of Christianity. So that's what we received. In the religious worship services in Europe, there was a particular framework that they used. So the African drum, or any drum at all, would be considered something to be evil or something that would not fit into the context of proper worship. So the Negro or the blacks that were in this territory, they were making the drums out of cedar tree, but it was never accepted into the church, so it was kept out apart.
In those days, when time the slave master them used to hear the slave them beating the drum, them used to get frightened because they don't know what I mean, but they know it's something.
The drum wasn't included in classical music. The first set of people come here with the slaves and take away the drum from away. So we forget it. And then afterward now, we get back to start plays again through Banana Group and myself. So the drum included in the classical music now.
Bueno, desde pequeño, cuando incursionamos en la música tradicional de San Andrés Islas, nos enseñaron dentro de sus raíces más que todo la parte armónica con la mandolina, la guitarra, el violín, y no son en su medida representativos de la cultura africana cuando hablamos de música africana hacia el tambor, los tambores. Ya a medida que ha evolucionado la música y que ha pasado el tiempo, pues se vio la necesidad de implementar instrumentos ya con más raíz africana dentro del concepto típico de la música tradicional.
The drum wasn't part of our racial tradition because our tradition is a mixture of English and African, but remember say the African didn't come through slavery. So this never be part of our culture until plenty of our people start to travel to Panama and they start to see this keg drum. In the 1900s, they used to accompany the guitar, the fiddle, and the violin here in San Andres with this keg drum. It was a little drum you put under your arm and you play it like a little tick tack 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 tick tack tack. You know, this is the only more or less drum we know about from the 1900s. Until it come up to now the emancipation days, that now we started to bring back this African celebration, things like using the African drums them to bring back that spirit.
Well, the drum now is finding acceptance in the worship services, no contemporary worship services in most of the churches. It has been a very rough process. It's been very difficult, where, you know, the elders still feel like the drum, some of them might still feel is the devil's instrument, you know, and you're bringing the devil into the church because these sounds they're very aggressive sounds, they're very pushy sounds, and they're very in your face. That's what the drum does. And for them, what they conceive as worship, again, Eurocentric, is more of, you know, peace and quiet, and don't make too much noise in the head of God because God is a quiet God, and, you know, and things like that. But that's not really worship. But anyway. The drum is coming in, and the young people are now feeling the drum. They are now, you know, wanting the drum. And so you have young adults that are wanting the drum. You have young people wanting the drum. The children want the drum. And so some of the older folks are just saying, well, you know, we're on our way out. And so if that will keep them into the worship, then just allow it to continue.
Beating and drumming for me is like a heartbeat that each person have inside, you know. We as African descendants, we have like a drum beat in each one of us, you know. So when you hear a little rhythm, you start move your foot, you start move your hand, you start move some part of your body. Each person from this island, as of our custom and heritage, we have like that little music in a beat in each one of us, you know. The academy start, it was just a dream. The passion, the necessity, and looking on the fruit that I reap in the past, I say, hey, I have to start something in at this stage. You know, you have a generation who might be not have the chance to take a drumming class or you know, something like that. So based on the trees point that why I decided like to start the Magnet Drum and Percussion Academy.
The spirit of these drums still there in these young guys that are coming up nowadays. So when they meet like the Bente de Julio and the Semtagas and they have the opportunity to face in the drum, then we start to see again the spirit of the African, the spirit of the African come back out again in them. We have to realize that the majority of the beating around here in the America start from what we call a banda de guerra, a banda de guerra. You know, even though it's a banda de paz, they call it banda de paz because it's transformed. It's not a matter of fighting again. It's like a free thing from the spirit. It's the spirit of the African that reborning in these African descendant children.
I don't want the youth and all the people, all of us, remember say our blood, our ancestors is from Africa. So we have to keep on beating the drum and keep on talk our language.